In today's video, we're going to talk about terraformers. Before we proceed with the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and turn on the notification icon so you won't miss any video. Takashi Miike is a well-known Japanese filmmaker with several violent and controversial films such as Audition, 1999, and Icky the Killer, 2001, which made him a world-renowned figure after a DVD presented his work to an international audience and helped launch J-horror craze. Terraformers is a famous live-action adaptation of the popular manga series. This film was written by Yu Suga and Michio Fukuda and directed by Michio Fukuda. This film was launched in 2011. There are already original video animations, OVAs, and cartoon series based on it. But Miike's movie is probably the most popular introduction to this curious space outside of Japan. Part of the problem is the source of the content. Japanese filmmakers are constantly struggling to adapt long-form manga to life because there is simply no space to fully adapt to 20 or more volumes in a single narrative aspect. The filmmakers are left to fend for themselves, to cut down on the complexity of the plot, or simply to agree on a 2-hour agreement and pray for succession. None of these options are excellent, but fourth, simply converting existing information into a new form that takes up to 2 hours of work seems to be completely absent from the Japanese film industry's radar. Terraformers takes a third option. Things happen until the film is out of date, and the stories are left in a deliberately open fashion and follow the sequence. To be honest, there is something wrong with the group of soldiers from the developed nation that goes all the way to Mars to kill many black people with black skin. Had it been at least deliberately conceived as public comment, terraformers may have gone with it, but to our knowledge, it is simply an unintended and unwelcome elephant in the room. In the 21st century, humankind began to make terraform Mars by sowing the surface of the Earth with algae that absorbs sunlight to clean up the colonial atmosphere of man, which was still being spread by little cockroaches. Half a thousand years later, in the year 2599, a group of criminals is sent to Mars at the port of Bugs 2, apparently to pay for their sins as pioneers of the human colonial effort. But they see that the planet is now full of bipedal creatures. The terraformers turn into humanoid-like cockroaches with incredible speed and power, sent to destroy them. And to help them eradicate these cockroach creatures, the team is fitted with insect DNA, giving each of them different anthropoid abilities: fire retardant, powerful beetle, superpower, ant, hiding like a rainbow stag beetle, high jumps and kicks powerful, like a desert locust, and mental deception, like the tail of an emerald cockroach. That's a complicated idea. In a Hollywood movie, efforts will be made to make things happen and to address the psychological burden of poor, abandoned, and unscrupulous workers, and tell them their only hope of survival is turning them into insects to defeat hundreds of thousands of unimaginable aliens. But while Terraformers was co-produced by New Line Cinema, it was designed for Japanese audiences who seem less interested in sticking crazy. Here, the characters never raise an eyebrow over what is happening to them and voluntarily transform themselves into bugs, men with horns, ready to fight thousands of harmless, dumb terraformers who are dangerous, dumb, and eager to slaughter crowds. Miike once said Paul Verhoeven's Starship Troopers, 1997, is his favorite movie, so it's easy to see why terraformers begged him. He has the same idea as Robert Heinlein's 1959 novel Verhoeven adapted to suit his preferences, even though he was influenced by Japanese interests in body modification and skeletal transformation. We might be surprised that there was no kaiju beetle for the end, but there is not much ridicule or ingenuity in the script, other than to suggest that large corporations do terrible things in secret and view people as shells used in the pursuit of domination and global profit. What the film's essence is, some Hessen people agree to go to Mars to earn large sums of money once they return. Visiting there, they were forced to undergo surgery by risking their lives. As soon as they arrived on Mars, they learned that they had been falsely accused. Cockroaches had turned into giant black-blooded machines, and surgery allowed a group of people to transform into a variety of superhuman insects. From there, the film is a series of horrific scenes of horror scenes, until enough people die, so that survivors can escape at the last minute. The frustrating thing about terraformers is how it gets stuck in oddly shaped pieces, as the whole story is only a few inches ahead to allow each working person to transform into an insect hybrid and go to war, but fail shamefully, lead the next sucker to transform and try again with a different skill set. The tone is also hard to push down, as things start with a serious nod to Blade Runner 1982. Before we are thrown into the annihilation of the Starship Troopers, camp unaware that things can be made wild and cruel or let jokes and jokes written in their minds. Mika chooses to do whatever she wants, so the movie jumps between the difficulties of the Poe, despite such funny things, and the times when she finds it stupid. There are a few unforgettable sequences, one of which involves a tsunami of slow-moving chicks into space in large numbers, but has lost its appeal after a fourth person turned into a random insect. It doesn't help that the transformation has come together as one, as only 3 people gain different skills to fight the terraformers. So it is only a matter of time before the Klingons' dark-skinned people, with only the horns on their foreheads and the muscles exploding in their distance, Robes Avengers. Endgame 2019, stolen by accident. Those swish designs made by Yuya Mita are an unmistakable highlight of the film. Terraformers. Even the title is rarely mentioned aloud because it incorporates terraformers and Terror for Mars. Is it no doubt amazing and seductive because of its out-sci-fi gimmickry? They are very aggressive, ruthless, and incapable of communicating with them, making them the most insignificant threat that feels completely foreign. Some VFX activities are chintzy. Although this is a 2016 release, it is a perfect match for pulpy material. Otherwise, Terraformers feels like a line made by characters of flesh and blood. It may be a good reflection of the content, but Mika cleverly filters out the opponent's dark skin tones, as the lie faces criticism over the way terraformers look like African nations facing extinction in colonial forces. We can imagine that some kids will end this because it's their first experience with crazy Japanese sci-fi, or finding pleasure in the invention of what they see, but tedious without testing the characters and their relationships. Mika's real interest is to plan a series of cartoon battles between human and insect chimera and CGI roach men, but it can be invested in anyone or the story dragging terraformers down into a daft sci-fi action movie. After all, aren't the terraformers facing a horrible and terrifying face not good men, who have been in a state of relative peace for 500 years until the emergence of these mighty earthlings? So, we've come to the end of our today's video. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos. Till next time.